sister who spends every Christmas Eve at our house called CPS on us, and told them my husband was an alcoholic and we were starving our kids, so when I confronted her she admitted it proudly, then started screaming that we didn't deserve to be parents. My sister and I have always been close. Every year she spends Christmas Eve sleeping over with her fiancé, M31, and helps us get toys from Santa built and set up for Christmas morning. We call ourselves Santa's helpers, and have a lot of fun with it. This year, she spent the night, and saw my husband and father disciplining our son. M13, our son is now a teenager and likes to ignore us when we ask him to do something, pretend he doesn't know how to do something incredibly simple, slam doors, general teenager sassy behavior. His teachers at school notice it as well, so it's something we're working on at home. Our discipline style is somewhere between tough love and talk it out. Every time a conflict at home arises, my son does the argue/flip out, then run upstairs and slam the door thing. My husband will wait 10 minutes and go upstairs and have a heartfelt, meaningful dialogue with him. This happened on Christmas Eve. He told his 3-year-old sister Santa wasn't real, and we both immediately told him that wasn't okay, and he started arguing with us. It led to the same typical back and forth. The difference was, my sister and her fiancé were present. Neither of them said anything and went about our usual Christmas Eve routine. Everything seemed fine. Our son apologized and went to bed. Upon his return to school after break, a CPS worker showed up and pulled him out of class to interview him about how his parents treat him. He told them he loved his parents and that things at home were fine. He expressed that when we discipline him we sometimes ground him and we take away his electronics for a week, and sometimes he will argue with us, but he knows that when we discipline that we do it because we love him and want him to grow and learn. Now, a little detail about the month of December and its difficulties. I have a seizure disorder. I have not had a seizure in 10 years, and in the month of December out of nowhere I had 3 back-to-back. I was sitting at my neurologist's office, preparing for an EEG sleep study, when I get a call that goes to voicemail from that same CPS worker saying the next day she would be coming to our house to interview us and our 3-year-old. I immediately shared the number and voicemail to my husband and told him to call her back immediately because I couldn't. So the very next day, after an exhausting round of seizure tests, she came over. When she arrived the next day, we got a better picture of the accusations she made against us. 1. She claimed my husband was an alcoholic with anger issues. 2. She claimed we were starving our 3 children and had no food in the house. To answer the first accusation, it was Christmas Eve, all of our family was there, drinking eggnog or wine. No one in the house got sloshed except my sister, who drank an entire 18-pack of beer to herself that night. We do not have a drinking problem. It was a holiday with family and a delicious meal I spent all day preparing. My husband does not have anger problems whatsoever. We were upset at what our son said to his sister, but not in any way that would justify saying anyone in this house has anger issues. My dad and my husband pulled our son aside to talk to him about it. I really don't understand this one. To answer accusation 2, as the CPS worker toured our house, we showed her our pantry, fridge and freezer. She literally laughed out loud and said there's enough food here to feed everyone in this house for 3 months. We are absolutely not starving our kids at all, and that was obvious right away. When the CPS worker was packing up to leave, she stated, "I'm grateful to be handling a case in a functional home with happy, healthy kids. Usually it's quite the opposite today." She called us back and is closing the case by the end of today. She does not believe any further action is needed and our risk score is low. Upon talking to my parents and brother, all agree this was for sure my sister based on talking with her themselves, though she has not outright admitted it. All agree this was the last thing my family needed while dealing with my health issues, and restructuring our lives and schedules around the reality that I can't drive for 6 months, so I can't work. My husband and I see this as a major betrayal. I'm still reeling from the reality that a family member I've always been so close with and trusted would make such an impulsive, dishonest and quite frankly cruel decision like this. I have spent weeks trying to figure out how to confront her, as she has not fully admitted to doing this, but has heavily implied it to everyone who's spoken to her. She went from being overly communicative the day of this interview, demanding I call her and tell her how it went, and in general blowing up my phone, to being silent, and not speaking to me for weeks after I told her it went fine. I believe she knows I assume she did this. I want to have a conversation with her, but I do not know how to do it. I feel betrayed by my sister, and incredibly hurt. I do not want to react emotionally, but I do want her to know this was wrong. Comments where Op has replied. Comment 1. I don't know how or if I would confront her. Where are your parents in this? Why aren't they giving her hell? But for sure, she would never be welcomed into my home again and her relationship with my children would be completely over. And I mean completely. No calls, no texts, no visits, no interactions, no visiting with her at the parents, nothing. You don't threaten my family and then have a relationship with them. I would be done. Personally, I think you should be done because you need to know that you can never, ever trust her again. Ever. Oop, my parents aren't giving her hell yet, because they've been trying to information gather from her while she's gone silent on me. I definitely plan to go no contact for a while. The sad part is she's been progressively unstable and getting worse over the years. I feel like I've lost my sister. This feels like a betrayal I'm not sure she can come back from without a lot of work on her end, and not anytime soon. I want to confront her, and let her know that I know this was her, that she put my kids at serious risk making baseless accusations, and that she will not be welcome at my son's birthday next week, and that she will not be welcome here for a long time. Comment 2, how did you find out it was her? CPS isn't allowed to tell you who reported you. I'm not judging, and I think you need to go NC immediately, and don't even stress yourself about confrontation. Don't work yourself up over trash. I'm just very curious how you know it was her. Oop, my parents and my brother, each individually got a hold of her just to talk about the situation and see what she would say, and the way that she was responding made it sound like she felt justified in the actions of whoever must have done this. That and the wording of the complaint fits into what seems like a projection of her own behavior that night, mixed in with some baseless accusations and lies. She's also super granola health food nut, so it's highly possible that she said we weren't feeding our kids because when you look in our pantry, we have an abundance of food that are all organic, nothing processed, no chips, no snacks. They should be eating salads, and vegan food mentality came out as we're not feeding our kids the diet she thinks they should be eating. I remember her boyfriend actually saying, "Wow, you guys have a lot of spaghetti sauce, do you ever worry about the GMOs?" I make dinner and feed my children every single night. We never order out. They eat a home-cooked meal every night. I definitely buy jars of pasta sauce sometimes to make it easier when I make spaghetti or a baked ZT, and we have canned goods like beans and soups and all kinds of things like rice and pasta noodles. They would scoff at based on their diet. Comment 3, do you know for certain it wasn't her fiancé who called? I'd sit both of them down and talk, because it was surely one of them. Or your son did it in a fit of teenage angst and regretted it later and thought just telling them at school that it was all good would reverse it. Best make sure before any actual accusations. Oop, her fiancé is a social worker. It is possible she used his position to do something like this, but her fiancé was busy flirting with my youngest sister, so quite frankly I have no idea what's going on there between them. My son 100% did not do this. He came home and immediately told my husband some lady came to talk to him at school, and it genuinely confused him. Comment 4, does your sister have children? Is she jealous of your life? I don't know, maybe I'm off base, but I can't help to wonder if she was hoping CPS would take the kids and place them in her home. Oop, my sister can't have children actually. She was always the sibling that wanted the big family with tons of kids, which seems a little like a rage-induced motive to me, and definitely like family would get first dibs on the kids before foster care. Update 1, my brother wants to coordinate lunch where we sit down with her to discuss this. He doesn't think me texting her is a good idea, so that may happen, but I don't even know if I can look her in the eye right now. I intend to bring up the drinking issues and concerns for her mental health during this conversation, but also try to get to the truth. We'll have one final update after this with more answers. Thank you everyone. Update 2, she ended up reaching out to me, and telling me how much she loved me. I responded saying that I had a question to ask, and I needed her to be honest with me. She called me immediately. She opened with saying, "I think you already know the answer if you're asking this question." So yes, it was me. I followed up with, "Do you realize what could have happened to my kids? To me and my husband? Do you realize how bad the outcome of this could have been?" She began to rant and yell. She said me and my husband don't deserve to be parents, that I obviously don't care about my kids because I hadn't even brought them up, which I literally opened with, "Do you realize what could have happened to my kids?" Literally my first question. I think she was drunk again during this call. She just kept yelling and ranting, and I couldn't get a word in. I kept asking if I could speak and she wouldn't stop going off. The only words out of my mouth she heard were, "You realize we're going to be taking a very long break from you, right?" And her response was, "I'm sure you will, and I don't care," then resumed her ranting. So I calmly told her if she was not going to let me speak I was going to hang up. At this point her ranting was incoherent, something about how she cares more about my kids than anyone. Obviously not if you think what you did was okay, and think that showing my kids you care about them means putting them at risk and ensuring that they are also losing a family member as a result of her actions, then sure, I guess that's caring. I once again calmly stated that I was going to hang up if she wouldn't let me speak. Unfortunately, that's where this phone call ended. I hung up and blocked her immediately and then called our father. I told him the way she was behaving on the phone sounded like she was incredibly unstable and either drunk, having a manic episode, or both, and that he should call her just to try to calm her down and get through to her. It sounds like he was going to immediately, though I don't know. I am devastated and still reeling from this. I knew it was her, but I really wanted the slim chance it wasn't to be true, even if I knew it was impossible that it wasn't. Hearing her say it sent chills down my spine. She said it so indignantly and like she was proud of her actions, and then devolved into unhinged ranting. Last night I officially lost my sister. I will be going no contact from here on out, but my heart is broken. My dad clearly didn't want to believe it was her either, because I heard his tone change instantly when I said she had admitted it. My dad sounded like he was on the verge of tears, and quite frankly I don't blame him. She just caused a massive rift in our family. I didn't even get to bring up the accusations. I really would have loved to ask her where the hell she came up with the idea that we are starving our kids and have no food in the house. She has never left our house hungry, and our kids have never gone hungry. I would have loved an answer to that, but never got a word in once she was going off. I also would have loved to ask her about the drunken anger issues thing, because it was clear and on display on the phone last night. She is the one drunk and angry, not my husband. Of course, I would have loved to make that keen observation, but again, I never got to speak once she was going. This is my final update. I have no idea how I feel today besides heartbroken and numb. I want to thank everyone who commented with words of support and advice. It meant a lot to me and really helped inform how I was going to handle this moving forward. I wish I had been wrong, but I wasn't. I'm worried because of her reaction on the phone last night. She might retaliate. I have no idea if she will. I hope speaking to my dad maybe helped. I'm a little on edge today and sad, but just hoping to move forward from this in peace. Comments where Op has replied. Comment 1. Of course. I don't know your family or the situation in full, but I imagine this feels like a betrayal in some ways. Did you get her admission on recording and/or do you have record of it? I know some states have laws allowing false reports of child abuse to be prosecuted if they were made with provable malice. Oop, I did. Thank God you can record iPhone phone calls. I'm not sure if it's admissible in court though. Washington has very strict rules on recordings being used in legal action, when the recording was taken without the other party's knowledge. This definitely feels like a betrayal. She sees my kids maybe 3 to 4 times a year, and is simply not around enough to even make accusations like this, or have enough information about our daily lives to have any room to speak. She does not understand how serious this is. Comment 2. Info. Have you called your sister's fiancé to see what's going on? Oop. No. I received confirmation from my sister herself. She is now blocked and I won't be calling her fiancé. I'm unfortunately also running into the new issue of certain family members still wanting me to invite her to gatherings and they don't agree with what she did, but she's still my sister and I should move on, which is not happening anytime soon. Next story. Stayed in a relationship with a woman who put her hands around my neck, went through all my stuff, and called me throughout the day to check where I was, because I loved her too much to leave until my family sat me down and made me realize what I was doing to myself. Before I start, sorry for the monstrosity of a story I'm sure this will turn out to be. I've got a lot on my chest. I've been dating Jessica, not her real name, for 2 years. It has been a rough 2 years. This is my first relationship, and when it began I was not in the most healthy of places. To keep things sufficiently vague, I come from a background of death and abuse. One of my guardians, the only one that really loved and cared for me, died when I was a child. The other was abusive, really abusive. I ended up running away in my mid-teens and was taken in / all but officially adopted by a former friend's, now brother's, family. I had all kind of crap that I had to work through, and I was starting to make significant progress when I got into my relationship with Jessica. She was seemingly everything I always dreamed of. Intelligent, caring, empathetic, beautiful, you name it and she had it. We ended up dating when I was 19 and she was 24, and I was and am utterly devoted to her. Looking back now, red flags abound, but at the time I couldn't see any of them. There were throwaway comments about how all of her ex's families hated her because they felt she was taking away their child, how she wanted to be loved in an all-consuming way, the jealousy of my family whenever I spent time with them, and the guilt trips for not spending every second I had with her. I was not, and am not, without my own problems. I mainly had problems communicating and problems with anxiety due to the fact that I didn't know if I was capable of having a healthy relationship, but this relationship was the final push for me to get better. Therapy, intense self-reflection, and an overwhelming desire to finally be unbound from my past drove me to a better place. I left my darker self behind around 3 months into the relationship, shed that skin finally. The freedom and joy I felt upon burying those horrible habits and obsessions over the pain of my childhood, a process that took almost 4 years. I can't even explain it. It was beautiful, and I took this newfound energy and passion and drove it all into the relationship. It almost seemed that as I got better, Jessica got worse. Her jealousy ramped up to the point that I was getting phone calls randomly throughout the day to verify where I was. She would go through all of my stuff. I was constantly accused of cheating, of falling out of love, of planning to leave her. This culminated with her hands around my neck, later claimed to be for attention because she thought I was cheating on her. I was shattered. I didn't know what to do. So I called my adoptive mother. She told me to wait until Jessica was at work, take a day off school, and pack up my stuff. I went along with this, but instead of that I ended up talking to Jessica. I confessed everything to her, and she got upset with me for breaking her trust by talking to my mom. We agreed to separate living arrangements, but we both mutually wanted to continue to work through our issues. I started seeing a therapist to try to solve my cowardice and inability to confront her. Later it became apparent that she was still going through my stuff. I confronted her about it, and she agreed to go to therapy. She quit shortly after without telling me until months later. Things have gotten better, baby steps. But the constant paranoia and every other problem are still there, besides physical violence, in slightly smaller doses. Despite all this, I love this woman with all of my heart. I would do anything for her, and I have. I've moved across state, changed degrees, done everything for her. I recently went down to see my family. I only get to see them a couple of times a year, and Jessica refuses to go. She says that I ruined any chance of her having a relationship with them. My family has been a constant source of strength for me. They've never directly told me what to do, just given advice. This was the first time they directly confronted me. My sister was almost in tears about how I almost never see or talk to them anymore, how they think that if I continue this relationship they will fall to the wayside. My mother said that she can't tell me what to do, but that I better never start a family with this woman for the sake of any children. My father said that she'll drive me to an early grave, just like my horrible guardian did to my loving guardian. My brother said I've got to let her go for her own sake, that I am enabling her and stopping her from actually getting better through not manning up. I know they are right. I've known that they and all my friends have been right for ages, but it has taken me over a year to get to a place where I am confronting her about the crap she pulls only about 60% of the time. I just seem to have this emotional block. I can't finish it. I love her too much and can't hurt her. I know it's stupid. I know it's ridiculous. I know that in reality it is ridiculously simple, that I just have to do it. But none of that is helping me actually do it. Like I said, I am in therapy and am trying to work through stuff, but I thought I would try to post to Reddit to see if anyone has been through something similar. Any and all advice is greatly appreciated. Update: first off, big thanks to everyone who supported me. Thank you to everyone who has messaged me. Thank you for everyone who commented. I read through your posts multiple times, including one final time before I sent my final text to Jessica. Yes, I broke up with her tonight, not even an hour ago. After so long, I finally did what had to be done. And it sucks. It sucks even more than I thought I would, and I knew it was going to be one of the hardest parts of my life so far. I feel a lot of things right now. Sad. Happy. Angry. Exhausted. Energetic. The whole range. I miss her already, but the barrage of texts she sent me afterwards solidified my position more than any advice. And it followed no reasonable narrative either. She would just switch from bitter attack to sweet talk. It is going to be a long, hard road. I know that, but I'm glad I've made my decision. Again, thank you so much to all who commented. You came to me when I was completely broken and helped give me the strength I needed to do what had to be done. It is funny. In the final moment all I could think of was the scene in Game of Thrones where Jon Snow says, "I'm tired of fighting." I have no idea why that stuck out and became so poignant in my mind, but it did. Again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't thank you all enough.